Today is Friday, January 16th, and this is your forecast for the central United States. And I think quite easily the big story is the colder than normal temperatures, especially in the south. But in the Midwest, although it's cold now, it is about to get even colder with a true Arctic blast on the way. Let's take a look at that map. We have chilly temperatures that are dipping all the way down into South Florida. Even here in the southeast, it's about to get colder, but it's really going to be quite dramatic at what happens here for the weekend, later in the weekend, especially as we look at the Midwest. Today it's cold, but this is, typical January. In fact, for many, this is not bad. We got scattered snow showers, certainly nothing terribly heavy, except for maybe in some very narrow and isolated lake effect snow bands. But temperatures are in the 30s and it's windy, so it feels like the 20s. We got scattered rain and snow showers from Pittsburgh to Cincy over to Louisville. It's leaning mostly toward the rain shower side of things. And then got highs in the low 50s in Nashville and Memphis. But remember, I said just wait in the Midwest, because by the end of the weekend and early next week, we're looking at highs mostly in the teens. And that's what the thermometer is going to say. Wind chills could be 0 or even at times below 0, especially at night and in the early morning hours. And that's the same for you in Chicago. So get ready for some true Arctic air here for next week, later in the weekend, early next week. As we move into the mid-Atlantic and southeast, we're barely at 40 in D.C. We're in the 40s, Wilmington, Charlotte, and Charleston. A high of 52. That's it for Savannah and Atlanta, Georgia. You go all the way down to the Gulf Coast, and we're right around 70 New Orleans, so it's nice and comfortable there. But it's pretty cool pretty much all the way down to the Gulf Coast. And look what's happening down the Florida Peninsula. 61 for a high in Tampa and 67 for a high in Miami. That's chilly in Florida. You got people wearing jackets in Florida for today. 56 tomorrow in Charlotte. Yeah, don't let that fool you. We got temperatures barely making it to 40 on Sunday, and most of next week I think we're looking at highs in the 40s. In Fort Lauderdale, it's cold when you look at the thermometer, but the wind is making it feel 10 degrees colder. So in South Florida, wind chills this morning in the low 30s. That is very cold, and it'll be sunny and chilly, even with a high of 67, it'll feel pretty chilly with the wind. The wind does lets up later on this evening with scattered clouds, low 60s. We're at least back into the 70s for the weekend, but another high barely of 68 degrees on Monday. I don't see any 80-degree temperatures anytime soon in South Florida. That's crazy. All right, that is your Friday morning weather update. I hope everyone has a terrific weekend. Remember that as long as you want there to be, there will always be a 100% chance of good things.